So today I have something I'm pretty excited to show you guys. I built a mechanical demonstration of not only how a three-way wiring system would work, but if you have more than two switch locations, you actually have to incorporate what we call a four-way switch. And so I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that for you guys here. As you can see right now, we have our power coming in here onto the what would essentially be the common screw of the first three-way, and then it comes across to the traveler wire here. So this would represent the connection from the three-way switch to the first four-way switch. Then we have the entrance into the four-way switch here. It comes across and through the four-way onto the next traveler wire, which is the connection between the second switch, which is the four-way, on down to the final switch in the series, which is also a three-way switch. And then it comes across to the common screw on this three-way, around into our light bulb. Then it comes out of the light bulb on the neutral and will eventually return to the ground. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys visually here on this board what will happen and how it works as far as the wiring of the switches and really what's happening each time you hit the switch. But in order to really make that make sense, I have 3- and 4-way switches here, so I'm going to show you something with that really quick. So here we have our amp meter, and here's the lead. I have it set to continuity. So when the leads touch, it's going to ring out. The reason I'm mentioning that is because now I want to show you guys this three-way switch. So looking at the three-way switch, we have essentially 2 gold screws and a black screw. This black screw is going to represent, well, it is the common, and that's going to be represented on the board, which you'll see here shortly. So when you're toggling this three-way switch, all that's happening is the connection is going from this common to this gold screw, and then if that's how it's connected right now, then when you toggle it, now it's going over to this gold screw. So we can demonstrate that for you. And as you can see, I have one lead on the common screw, and as you can hear, there's a connection from this to this, and there is no connection here. Now we lost our connection there, and we have it here. So that is how a three-way switch works mechanically. Let's jump over here to our four-way switch. So looking at the four-way, it has a black screw and a gold screw on this side, and a black screw and a gold screw on this side. Looking at the back, here you have your input, which is the black screws, and then at the bottom you have your output, which is the gold screws. So really all that's happening here is you're getting a cross or a straight through. So right now, with the position that the switch is in, this black screw is feeding straight through to this gold screw. If we go to the other side, it's going to be exactly the same. Now we toggle it, and neither of these are going to be connected because now you have a cross through feed, which is going to be like this. So now the caddy corner parts of the four-way are connected instead of the same side. So now let's show you what that looks like on the board. So some of you guys might already kind of understand where this is going, but I want to really break this down so you can visually see it. So this green triangle right here represents the first three-way switch. This little square here represents our four-way, and then this next green section represents the third and final switch in the series. Now these little straight pieces of wire between is the wiring that you would use to connect the switch locations. So right now we have power here coming into the first three-way on the common screw, and then it goes through the switch. So then it would travel on this wire over here to the four-way switch. So as you can see right now with this configuration, we have it in the X formation, so it's actually jumping over to this, and now the three-way switch is like this. It comes across to this common screw and goes to the light. So now let's just say you're at this part of the hallway or whatever you're trying to control, and you say, well, I want to turn my light off. So boom, you hit this three-way switch. All that's going to happen is you're going to toggle this over like that. So now that you have that three-way switch toggled to that position, if we start back at the top of the chart or the board here, we come in, go across the traveler, cross over on the four-way, and then we have a dead end. So that's why our light is off. So now if you go to any position and you hit any of the switches, it's going to turn the light back on. So just to simplify things, we're going to leave the four-way in the current configuration, and let's jump back up to this three-way and show you what will happen. So let's say you're at the start of the hallway, which is the other end. Then you would come over here and say, hey, the lights are off, I want to go to my room. Boom, you hit this switch, it switches over to this side, and look at that, our light's back on, because let's follow the path here. So now we're coming across on this traveler, and then now we cross over back on the same four-way on to this traveler, and oh look, that's the one that's over here. So it doesn't really matter what switch you toggle, it's going to turn the lights on or off from any position, and that's how it works. So here, this thing's not staying. There we go. So now that we're in this configuration, let me just show you what it would look like if you were, say, in the middle bedroom and you came out and you're like, it's bedtime, guys, I want to go to sleep. So boom, you hit your switch. Well, what that's going to look like is now, instead of this X configuration, it's just going to go to the parallel. So I'll just go ahead and throw in these little parallel jumpers I got right here, just to kind of visualize that for you guys. So now you have these. So boom, you hit the four-way switch, and now instead of it jumping across, it just goes straight through. So now your lights are back off because we didn't change anything here. Now it just comes straight down, and now you're still at this same dead end you were at before. But you could theoretically come over here to this switch and turn it back on, or any of these switches. So that's really what happens whenever you wire in 3- and 4-way switches. That's the theory behind it. Now with this configuration we have right now, you could essentially just block out this little 4-way label, and this is the exact configuration of a 3-way lighting circuit with just 2 3-ways. It would just, you have your common, your 2 travelers, which would be represented here. Just forget that this was a switch. It's 2 straight travelers, and then the other end of the 3-way. So that would be your typical 3-way wiring setup. But I also wanted to show you guys the 4-way, and the interesting thing here is, because of the way the 4-ways are controlled, you can put as many of these 4-way switches as you want in series and control from any location, as many locations as you want, as long as it's put in order. So you'd have to have 3-way, then say 4-way, 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 3-way, and now you'd have 5, 6, 7 switch locations as long as you wire it in the correct order. So that's really how all that works. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any questions, if I wasn't clear, and if you have any other topics you want me to cover. Thank you for watching.